Hey guys, welcome to what might end up being the last Sims 3 video. This is the Sims 3 Island Paradise. We're finally dipping into this, which is in a way my favorite expansion pack that the Sims ever came out with, that I've played at least. However, it's a buggy mess. It's notorious for just collapsing on itself after a couple hours of playing, but I figured I'd show this splash screen because it's kind of neat. I like all the little different icons that come with each new expansion. But this is post-commentary again. This is a 5-hour long video that's only 28 minutes long. So here we are back in Sunset Valley with the family we've been playing this whole time, and the focus this time is going to be these once teenagers, now young adults. We're moving the entire family and packing the furniture and everything and going to Isla Paradiso, the new town. Well, it's not new anymore, but it came with Island Paradise, the expansion. And here it is. Going very slowly, but this is an awesome place. It is kind of like an Outer Banks type thing, where you have the central island, yes, just like Sunset Valley, but then you have all these little offshoots, and there's islands to explore and stuff. And the big features that were added here are boating, resort management, scuba diving, and the lifeguard career, I guess. I feel like I'm missing something, but we end up going here, and I edit this town extensively for the next 2 hours. All of that is cut out, though. And so this little house and the one next to it is now empty. This one is going to be for the two elders. We are going to primarily be focusing on Billy Good Old Days and Crypto 2 Uzapak, the clone. So the two kids, and we're leaving the elders alone to carry out their days, I suppose, because we've done our thing. And so what we're seeing now is we're finally going to start playing, and I immediately go to the science lab and attend scuba diving class, because Crypto 2 is still aspiring to be in the music career, a rock star. That's not changing, but this guy, I completely altered him. I got his outfit kind of suited up with some of this Island Paradise stuff. And yeah, they're in the house right next to Bill and Esther. But yeah, speedboats, this is what's so cool, but notice how it's hanging for a moment. Like, that gets so much worse. There's times where the sound effects keep going and everything, but everything is just frozen for like a minute, like this. You see that? That is Island Paradise. It just gets way worse the longer you play. And I've bulldozed almost every single family that's in this town, because there's so many problematic houses that the developers built with the move objects on code enabled. So stuff is placed where it shouldn't be, and the fronts of lots are set inappropriately. And I don't know, just stuff gets stuck here all the time. But all of that aside, look at this. This is awesome. It just completely changes the atmosphere of The Sims, which up until I played this, there was nothing like it. And I love this stuff. Like, in real life, I love boating and water things, and scuba diving I've never done, but it's something, if I wasn't so anxious about it, I would definitely want to try it. But even the taxis are speedboats, which is really neat. But yeah, as I said, this video file, this gameplay was 5 hours long, and it's trimmed down extensively, so I love the sound of the seagulls too. It's like immediately it just welcomes you to this whole new atmosphere. But we're not going to sit through this rabbit hole. I believe I cut it. But all our skills and stuff are obtained. Oh yeah, I got to change his lifetime wish. Okay, because he's still got the professional athlete desire. But I changed it, and now there's a few new things. You could be a lifeguard, and you have to save, I forget, X amount of Sims. Deep Sea Diver is the one I end up going with, because I like that one. It's kind of open-ended. And then there's Resort Mogul, or however you say that word, where you got to own a 5-star resort. That's fun to mess with too, again, so long as the pack stays operational, because it starts to crap out. But yeah, he's still got that part-time job as a shopping DJ. So I actually used the cell phone to quit that job. I was like, after 2 hours of editing these terrible houses, I forgot where the phone was. But he's got level 1 scuba diving skill. With that, he can only snorkel. I believe I kind of cut that out, though. But because I don't have ambitions installed, it is impossible to go to the city hall and declare yourself as self-employed. You cannot do that. But it's in the patch notes with all the patches that came with every expansion. So with the NROS Master Controller mod, you can actually go to intermediate career, choose job, and it's in here. So if you want to be in a band, you can select that, and then for this purposes, we want to be a scuba diver. And see, now it appropriately goes as if I did have ambitions installed and did that in the city hall. And you can still achieve this lifetime wish without doing that, but you don't get this little career tab with all the earnings and stuff, and that's a shame. Oh, and another thing I did, I upped their lifetime happiness and gave this guy 2 honorary degrees. He's got a fine arts degree, and I think I might show it here. I can't remember. But he's got fine arts and technology, and I did only 1 honorary degree, physical education for Billy, who, speaking of, is about to go scuba diving. This is the coolest thing. Well, I thought so. I mean, it gets stale very fast, especially when stuff stops spawning like it's supposed to. But it always starts off great. And I love the sounds and the ambiance of underwater. So, this is pretty neat to me. Of course, the jingle always interrupts the cool underwater sounds. It's nighttime, so it's hard to see, but there are fish spawners. It is unedited. See, there's a swordfish. And as part of this lifetime wish, you gotta click on the fish and the shells that you find and collect them and then sell them. Just manually drag them to the little sell tab. And that's how you level up in this career. And it's just kind of a very manual job, and it's... I don't know, I like it. But I come and edit this lot because this is Rocky Reef, the earliest scuba dive place. And it's kind of the easiest one. So I actually enable lot editing, community lot editing, and add some more spawners in this underground thing. And this is why this island, or this town, is so unique. It's very hard to create dive spots like this, because this is basically a giant basement. That's how they do it, sort of. And it's very hard to create that and have it work well in other towns. People have done it, but this is the only one that comes right out of the gate with it. Yeah, scuba dive level 3. The only other thing you could do is this rabbit hole cave over here. You can explore, and it's got like little messages that happen. You could get stung by a octopus tentacle. You could find a pocket of air and redeem, because you see I have 2 hours left of breathing fine. I actually cut it real close to this first dive. As you improve in your diving skill, you can breathe down here longer, and of course you can see kelp growing down there. If you eat, I think you can eat kelp. There's definitely the lifetime wish that turns you into a mermaid, but if you are a mermaid, obviously you can breathe infinitely underwater, but then you gotta be careful you don't get dehydrated by staying out of the water too long. Speaking of, he saw a sexy mermaid, then realized it was a manatee. But yeah, as your scuba diving skill increases, you can find exits to other dive spots in these caves too. Like the next one that becomes available is Davy Jones' Locker. There's a lobster, catching that. But yeah, like this whole video, we're gonna be focusing primarily on Billy the Plant Sim here. Because the alien guy, he just keeps on improving his handiness skill and going to work in his newly found music career. Because this expansion is best played with 1 sim, I think. Or if you have 2 diving together. But see, everything's spawning pretty nicely here. There's a little bit of gaps, but like there's a little polyp on the ground. I got a nice queue of catching fish. There's another swordfish. But that quickly breaks too. Even like when I first add the spawners, it's all good. But then I start coming back here and like nothing spawns except for mermaids. And the mermaids that populate are messed up too. They don't have the tail fins that they're supposed to. They never load properly. That's a problem I've seen people talk about all the time, and I don't remember how to fix it. I know of one way to do it, but yeah, see, now I'm breathing shallowly for 2 more hours. I better quickly return to the surface. I cut it real close here because I got such a huge amount of catching fish queued up here. Also, you notice even though I'm a plant sim underwater, the water is still depleting. That doesn't happen when you're a mermaid. But like if it's a rainy day, your water, the whole time you're boating to the diving spot, your water will replenish as if you're taking a shower, like a normal sim taking a shower. But yep, telling him to go home and then going back to the alien. I don't remember if there's a cut. I'm kind of watching this in a full screen thing, so I can't see the parts where I've already edited it down. But yeah, he's working on handiness and stuff. And his brain power this whole time just like never depletes. We do get to see him consume some tiny rocks though, which is an alien interaction we have not seen. We've seen him transmute a rock, but not eat one. And for some reason, he still has his imaginary doll, and I can't sell it. It doesn't let you sell it. I guess it's just there forever, kind of like the high school diploma. You just can't get rid of it. And apparently that degree, it looks like I was trying to sell that, and it wasn't working. But yeah, this house, there's normally 2 bachelors that live here. I just kind of bulldozed them out of here, or evicted them, and moved these guys in, because I wanted the family to be next to each other. But you could also build houseboats. That's the other thing that this expansion does. You can have a mobile house on this big, movable barge, basically. And you could build whatever you want on it, and you could fish off of it, and it's really awesome. Yeah. Barely made that one. I wasn't paying attention, but my mouse cursor was hovering over it. I had like seconds to get out of the water because you can drown from staying underwater and not returning to the surface fast enough. There's a lot of different ways that you can die. You can get mauled by a shark, you can drown, and you could run out of air scuba diving. I think those are the 3 that were added. Oh, and dehydration as a mermaid. That's new too. But yep, right there, that other little thing. That's the other thing, too. You see how there's jets you can build over the ocean now. That was new as of this pack, too. But both of these houses, it's the same family we've been playing the whole time. And, yeah, the idea was just to kind of give a break of the elders. I mean, we started this whole thing off as Bill, and then met Esther, and we rose them all the way to the top, really. So now it's time for the kids. It's kind of playing like a legacy family here. And see, there, I ranked up. Just from selling some pretty pricey fish. Actually, these are all the cheap ones still. But I actually really like this. The first time I ever played this expansion, I spent so many hours, and I just bared with how it started performing terribly. Like, you absolutely need mods if you're gonna play this town. And you need to, like, go on the Sims forums or something and download people's fixed versions of this town. Which I did not do here. But there's a very handy feature called Reset Everything that you can do from the city hall or the computer. And that becomes so crucial because about every hour or so, and it becomes even more frequent than that, the game just stops. Like you have these like 2-minute long, just everything is frozen except for the sound effects. But there's some rocks. We're going to go collect those, and they're tiny. See, I noticed real quick that said consume. So then I canceled the pickup. So we're going to see a new animation from the alien guy. And it's graduation day. Yeah, I moved them out of Sunset Valley before they could graduate high school. I also cheated and aged them up to young adult faster because I didn't want to wait anymore. They were very close. Here's the new animation. See, very similar, but now he's maxed out brain power. In the graduation robes and everything, back on the speedboat. You can have jet skis, you can have canoes, paddle boats. I think it's a canoe paddle boat, same thing, kind of in this, the way that they treat it. Yeah, look at that, there's a little octopus. I believe now this lot is edited. There's some more rare fish. See, this is beautiful. This is what you want to see. As soon as you dive down, just fish everywhere. But for some reason that, like I said, starts to break after a while. I don't know if maybe saving and quitting and coming back fixes it. There's a red herring. And we got another diver. See, that's the thing. Sometimes you see normal townies come down here. Other times you see a mermaid. Oh, and the other thing that the boating is, there's hidden islands. I kind of think I may have mentioned it. But there's one hidden island that you can boat to discover. The rest, there's one you have to assemble pieces of a map that are all in underwater treasure chests, which we open some of them here. And then there's some very detailed requirements for unlocking the rest. Of course, you could always just use a lifetime cheat and discover all islands. There's also just a code if you Control-Shift-C. Looks like I'm about to career up again. Or rank up. Get promoted, technically. There it is. Aspiring aspirator. But yeah, I like this idea of careers that are self-managing. Lifeguard is very similar. You just... That eel is very good. That eel that I just sold. Marine Major. But yeah, I love this pack. If it just worked appropriately and you didn't require so much maintenance and so many mods to keep it going, I would play it all the time. It's just such a nice atmosphere and a great break from all the other towns. What's going on here? Oh, I'm about to discover an exit. Yeah. So my diving skill at this point is high enough to go to Davy Jones' locker, which is where we are, and I think we see our first shark here, which is scary every time because you never know when it's going to trigger an attack. And you can get attacked by a shark and survive. You just get a negative memory. Yeah, I love this underwater stuff. But again, look at this. It's just wide open space. Lots of decoration to just view. And no fish really to collect. You gotta really look. But there's a treasure chest right there. And that is our first map piece. But you really gotta get to like level 10 diving. See, there's the shark right there on the right. But more diving areas become open as you increase your scuba dive skill, but they get more and more dangerous with shark spawns like this, both on the surface and underwater. Like, see, I was kind of nervous. There's a thing right there. I don't know what that is. I think I get it. I see a squid or a jellyfish over there as well. Yeah, I love this. This is such a cool pack, man. I like, but see how it freezes every couple of seconds. It just chugs, and Sunset Valley does not do that. Every now and then it has a little bit of trouble, but nothing like this. And this just gets worse and worse. The longer you play, the more that happens. Like, your best bet is to just bulldoze every possible thing and discover all islands immediately, because that kind of slows it down too. There we go, we got a lot of large emeralds and things that we could sell, and a map piece, and 1,000 simoleons. Do I ever go back for that little green thing? I can't remember. Oh yeah, and that guy's still learning to cook. Like, see, that's the thing, I remember we told the plant sim guy. Yeah, look at that shot, that's beautiful. This is why this pack is awesome. Being on a speedboat in a thunderstorm at various times of the day. I don't know. This is just the coolest The Sims has ever been to me. I think I'm about to boat and discover an island. Is that what I'm doing right now? I can't remember. Again, this was a 5-hour-long gameplay recording. No, I'm at a dive spot. This is Davy Jones' locker again, I think. Or is this Rocky Reef? I think it's Davy Jones. These are the only 2 dive spots I show off. Yeah, this is Davy Jones again. But there's the Mermaid Grotto and Pearl's Deep. Pearl's Deep is the biggest one. That's like the craziest one. There's our first mermaid. That's Salty Seaworth, but notice his legs. It's not your typical mermaid fin. All mermaids have this problem in this town. And so immediately I go to the master controller and I try to go to the mermaid scales, and you can see I'm clicking the colors thing. It's supposed to bring up a panel where you can adjust the colors of all aspects of his mermaid fin, and it just doesn't show up. The mermaids are broken, but you can turn them not into a mermaid and then give the occult status back to them using the mod menu, and then it fixes it, but then everybody has the same color scales. You have to manually edit every single mermaid. But see here, I'm at the wrong island. But this, anytime you see smoky clouds like this, it's a hidden island, and it does make the game run like crap. And I thought this was the one that if you boat close enough to it, you automatically discover it, but I'm at the wrong one. I'm about to go to the right one here in a minute, but I just love the freedom of this and just the ocean ambiance. See there, I discover Rocky Reef. There's a huge hidden island. That might be the last one you discover, I don't know. But it's this tiny little one behind the Mermaid Grotto. And this is so cool too because it counts as real estate. You now own the house that you picked, and then once you discover these islands, but see, I'm having so much trouble clicking. Like, how the heck do you boat close to it to discover it? I was getting really angry, and then finally, there it is. And then the game, like, completely, like, I was hoping to just smoothly sail to it and slowly discover it, but you'll see, it just jumps. It's just such a glitchy, buggy mess, and that's the problem. Such beautiful ideas that really changed how The Sims plays, but executed so poorly because it's EA. And there we go. This is Barrel Shores, the smallest and cheapest island, of course, because you just go next to it and you have it. But this is what's so neat, is it's like this little getaway. So if you want to play as a sim that likes to woohoo the town and be a heartbreaker, this could be your little private getaway to arrange dates and stuff. I like to do that and signal mermaids and just have like a woohoo shack for banging mermaids. It's fun to do sometimes. Yeah, you could build sandcastles on the beaches too. I think that was new. No, you could always do that. It's just you rarely go to the beach in any other town. But see, you got your own fishing pond, which of course with the debug cheats, you can put whatever spawners you want in there. And photosynthesize does work because it's grass. I was trying to do it in front of the house, but you can't photosynthesize on sand, apparently. And that was a cut. This is all the stuff I purchased. Just kind of a nice little getaway. There was a limited edition of this that came with a survival pack, and there was kind of like a tent and a fire pit associated with that. I kind of replicated it here. I don't have that limited edition. But yeah, I like this. You can move the mailbox and stuff. You can build a proper house here if you want. And it's just the coolest freaking idea ever. And the more islands you discover, the bigger there are, the more room you have. And you can have multiple houses. And it's just crazy. And I think, yeah, here you could signal the mermaid. I only know that guy, Salty Seaworth. But they blow the conch shell. And that's what's... When it works, again, that's the biggest thing. In like a million bold asterisks. When it works, it's awesome. Oh, yes. I'm at level 6 diving skill. This is the second chest in Davy Jones' locker. That's what this is right now. You cannot open this chest unless you're level 6 diving. But it doesn't have a map piece. It just has more stuff to sell. So you can see we're doing giant cuts here. Again, it was 5 hours long originally. So it got very repetitive and the game was very laggy in spots. So I cut a lot of that out. Now here is a cool part. Nice clear night and the two bros. You can see he's also still got his scuba gear on. That started to get glitchy. I could only stay underwater for like a couple minutes and then it would just force kick me to the nearest piece of land, still in the scuba gear. So like, everything was just starting to mess up, as this pack tends to do. But yeah, I figured we'd go play some beer pong and ping pong on this little private island. Because it's very easy to not socialize with your family in this game. But there's not much more to this video. But yeah, I would greatly like to explore this pack further. And even continue with like a legacy family type playthrough. Because actually that's coming up. Esther dies. She's about to die. Bill does not though. Not yet. It was probably just before I turned it off. It was probably going to happen. But just the way that this town is... Like, I didn't know, like, we could do the oh my ghost thing. There we go, this is after several minutes, hours, fixing the mermaid scales. So there's two mermaids, it's Salty Seaworth and just some random townie that got converted to a mermaid somehow. I think. That's what they're supposed to look like. Again, every tail should be a different color. But they just don't work unless you remove their mermaid status and then add it again. Then they get that default blue. But you can see there's no fish. Everything was just starting to break. And right around here, I think I cut it out a little too late. There was a message about Esther passing on. And so then I go to the mausoleum and take her grave with the intention of doing that oh my ghost thing again and somehow getting my hands on ambrosia. But then at the same time, it's like, if you're going to play a legacy family and play through multiple generations, why would you keep reviving the same old generation? Why not leave them as ghosts or leave them buried? So that was another problem too, is just I wasn't really set on an idea. Like, how did I want to continue playing from here? But owning a resort would be the next thing. Maybe. But obviously university was completely skipped for these two. I don't know. I just think the further and further you go, it's like the more the game just starts to not run well. But we could also move to a houseboat when the parents are gone and just kind of really take off and live a different life. But all of it, I don't know. It's just, it's a lot of dedication. And I like it. It's enjoyable. I wish it worked better. But I also think still that the interest in this is not really there. Let's see, here we go, grabbing her epitaph, or whatever, her urn. Still with that idea of maybe reviving her, at least putting her in our same house. And I was gonna maybe go back to Sunset Valley because I was getting really annoyed with how bad things were starting to run already in this town. So I said as soon as it was in his inventory, as long as it stayed there, we could move back to Sunset Valley. But the problem is when you move, like, we don't know anybody from the university. Everybody we've ever met up until this episode, this family doesn't know anymore. It makes you not know that. The only thing you retain is your skills and your inventory. And this is talking to Bill after Esther has died. And you have the option to console him. And at some point he does actually cry with a little a picture of her over his head. You see, he got like super pissed off. I don't know. It was a very weird thing. But yeah, he was probably next, just probably moments away. I never got the message about it though. But yeah, we're coming up on the end. This was like the last dive here, and there was like one thing crawling, and that was it. So once again, this is like one of my favorite packs. I like when it works well. It's fun to explore. And I would like to do it. There's even stuff in University that I didn't fully explore, but I just don't know. It might be time to move on to other games, maybe even just shift focus altogether. I believe this is where we finally end things off. I did plant grapes, and I forgot to come back and water them, so that thing just died. So yeah, I hope this was enjoyable. Somehow. In the slightest, maybe. And I could do a challenge, maybe back in Sunset Valley. I would like to play more Island Paradise, but I just don't know. I'm not sure yet, but I'm thinking this is the end. So thank you very much for sticking through this one, and I'll see you in the future. Take care.